Kelsey Davis, I am so grateful to finally have you on In Depth with Dion. Thank you so much for joining
Of
us.
course. Thank you for having me.
There's so many ways to describe you. You were the daughter of a newsman.
Yes, I am.
You're the founder of a tech company while you were still in college. You are a transplant to Oklahoma. But most importantly, the way I would describe you is you are a C-suite level activist.
Oh,
Because
interesting.
I've never seen someone navigate in a space they're not from, learn the players, learn where the power lies, and learn how to make an impact as quickly as you have and authentically as you have. So that's one reason why, this has been a long time coming.
I appreciate that, brother.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
being a peer alongside you in the work, in all the hard ways, all the fun ways. So, yeah, excited to
Yeah.
be here.
I mean, so today's Juneteenth.
Hey,
Happy
Freedom
Juneteenth,
Day.
Freedom Day, Jubilee Day. Um, I guess what are your plans today, first of all?
Man, today's Juneteenth. Juneteenth has played a significant just time in my life for a while now. Um, Juneteenth just so happens to be the day that Collective was founded.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
I just found out earlier
Your tech
today.
company.
Yes, yes. And then I just found out earlier today one of the businesses I'm invested in just got some super exciting news today on Juneteenth. So
Okay.
that felt like another good Juneteenth
Hey,
present.
ancestors speaking.
And then, yeah, I think most excitingly, and why I'm in Tulsa today is for the Tulsa Juneteenth
Mhm.
Festival. I sit on the board of that festival, and am just excited to see what that's been able to do for Tulsa over the past decade, and just where we're going to be going over the next decade. And yeah, just most excited to hang out with my friends today.
Absolutely. And since you mentioned that, I do want to touch on that for a second.
Yeah,
There's so many Juneteenth celebrations happening across the country and
yeah.
across Oklahoma. You have Oklahoma City, you have here in Tulsa,
Mm-hmm.
and everywhere in between.
Mm-hmm.
Talk a little bit about the significance of Tulsa Juneteenth. And there's a deeper kind of emotional tie to this community
Yeah.
when you talk about who has been kind of the leader in keeping it going. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, no, for sure. So, Juneteenth was founded, Tulsa Juneteenth, in terms of the kind of this model of it, was founded 11 years ago now, by Sherry Gamble Smith, who also was the leader and the founder of the Black Wall Street Chamber of Commerce here in Tulsa. Her, alongside Vanessa Hall Harper, really wanted to, build something that obviously is like, yes, a festival, but more so I think a space and a place where people can be, experience joy, in a time where, just weeks prior you celebrate Legacy Fest, which is an
Right.
incredible festival that is a commemoration of the Tulsa Race Massacre. And I think, I know I experienced this living in Tulsa. A big reason why I came here, and loved living here. It's like you feel the spirit all the time. That's something that I want to talk a little bit about on just my journey, kind of growing up. But specifically here in Tulsa, like you feel the energy of what happened here, right? And there's always a knowledge and a consciousness and awareness of that. And so while that's super important and important to especially bring healing towards, right, which I think the city of Tulsa is trying to do a lot around now. I think what's most important for Black people in the midst of chaos, transparently, is joy,
Mm.
right? It is the recognition of freedom, um, the knowledge of self. Um, and I think those are a lot of things that, even in a world post slavery, post massacre, post civil rights voting act, post first Black president, I think a lot of Black Americans are struggling with feeling,
Mm.
right? And being aware of, um, is not only how do we show up in the world and in society, but just what does it look like for us to experience joy and creativity
Yeah.
ourselves as an individual, right? And so, at a macro sense, I think the Juneteenth festival is kind of like a call and a signal that, hey, this is the space where you can be and show up as that. And so Sherry Gamble Smith, I mean, just a complete leader, activist in her own right in every type of the way. She developed the Black Chamber of Commerce we talk about, the future of Greenwood and Greenwood
Yeah.
rising again, but what are the models of what that actually looks like? And so she was somebody that was just laying that blueprint down. And when I came out to Tulsa through a family friend, she was a family friend before I came to Tulsa. And when I moved out here, she was like, oh yeah, you gotta get to work. This is, you know what I mean? Like, I know you're doing your tech thing, but
She was your call.
yeah, she was like, "Yo, this is how I need you." And so I was like, "For sure, however I can do to serve." And that started off just with some help, teaching some workshops, stuff like that at the Black Wall Street Chamber. And then, as Juneteenth rolled around, Juneteenth is a very grassroots organization, and
Yeah.
now two of her daughters, Lauren and Lindsay, have just taken the reins since her passing and just been running with it. And so now what's really cool is you kind of have this new generational wave of what Juneteenth is. And it's
Yeah.
cool. It's like a group of 4 or 5 of us, Black women, just coming together every year to make it happen. So
And it's
yeah,
one of the
excited to do
biggest.
that today.
It's one of the biggest Juneteenths
Yeah,
in the country.
one of the biggest from a documented standpoint. I think we still are the biggest. Over 40,000 people that come out every year in Tulsa. So yeah,
So that's what got you here.
it was part of it. Yeah, for sure. Like so I was in LA pre Tulsa, and so I moved to LA after living in New York for 5 years, getting my bachelor's and my master's from Syracuse. And towards the end of so I started a tech company in undergrad. Basically got to the point where I was like, okay, I know that this is what I want to do for real. I want to do this full time post graduation. And so upon graduation, I was like, hey, I'm gonna stick around for another year. I'm gonna get my master's. While I'm getting my master's, we're gonna be applying to accelerators. Trying to get funding so that we can do this full time once we graduate. And so that's exactly what happened. March of 2020. That's when the pandemic happened, but it's also around the time we got into Techstars LA.
Oh wow.
And so that's basically like the Harvard of tech accelerator programs in the world. And so we went out there um, uh, with a couple dollars and a dream. And that was awesome. We were out there for 2 years. It was great. Around a year and a half. And transparently, I'm from Atlanta. But specifically, I'm from a town called Kennesaw, which is around 25 miles north of Atlanta. And I grew up in an experience, where I passed more Confederate flags than American flags going to school every day. Like racism, was like you learn that like you learn like geometry or like anything else, but from a standpoint of like I would almost say it's like home ec. Because it's like hey, we need you to know this information, not in some like academic theory context or just so you could pass a test, but it's like you need to understand how to like live every day. And so
25 minutes from Atlanta.
yeah, I mean Atlanta, all over is super, I think a big misconception that people have about Atlanta, it's awesome in the sense of, I think, a lot of the values and kind of the things that we look back in terms of Greenwood.
Yeah.
Like you take Greenwood, but around 60 years later, 70 years later, like Atlanta, I think was a very big representation of that kind of in that time, in relation to America. You have all these Black entrepreneurs, business people, executives, lawyers, educators, doctors, choosing to kind of make that home. Right. And so, both of my parents, in the 80s, moved to Atlanta.
Okay.
They moved to Kennesaw. Kennesaw was basically halfway between my mom's job, my dad's job. And it was also just a place, kind of Cobb County overall, it was a place where when you think about kind of Black upward mobility, and, this idea of, okay, our parents, they grew up in the projects, but now they're trying to make it out, right? Like Cobb County in relation to Atlanta is kind of one of those landing places, if you will, for some Black families. And so that was cool in the sense, I think, for them at the time that I'm coming into this neighborhood. We're the first Black family on the block. Look at us. We're doing better for our kids, right? But then it creates this dichotomy where it's like, yes, and now I'm one of a couple Black kids in the classroom, and what does that experience bring, right? And so because of that, and I promise this will lead back to Tulsa, because of that, my parents, like, they had a village in our town. That was like a very literal group of 10 families that came together in their neighborhood, all Black families. This is before any of the kids were born, right? So this is, 30 years ago. And they basically kind of made it, or maybe 35 years ago, it was like early 90s. They basically made a pact to, stick together, go to church together, we'll send our kids to schools together, and just kind of be a resource for each other. And so, those are some of my best friends now to this day. Now we're going to each other's weddings, baby showers, etc. But I saw what building your own community amongst, kind of independent of what your environment is. Like I grew up seeing why it's important to find your tribe, right? And so I had that before I then went off to college, right? Which was another time. I was fortunate to receive the Posse Scholarship, which was like a leadership development program for different, kids in different inner cities across the country, where basically they sent you to college with 10 different like people that all got this leadership program, who were like, maybe they were starting different programs in high school. They were, in student government. They were like super involved and just kind of doing leadership things within their community. And so they put you through this 1 year like leadership development intense program in your senior year of high school. And then they send you to college together as a group. And so it was called Posse. And so went to Syracuse again within this other framework of, a tribe kind of coming together with shared values, shared understanding. What does it then look like to go to a new place and ground yourself and like lead, right? Then I go to college. While I'm in college, I start, as an individual, I was like a director, producer, creative entrepreneur, designer, photographer, videographer, whatever you want to call it. And I was literally like skipping class, traveling the world on like a weekly basis, which was cool because I was like a film major and like a, entrepreneurship minor, basically. And so in my head, I'm like, oh, this is perfect setup.
Right.
Like, I'm in college, 1,000 miles away from home in New York, like living my dreams. Yeah, I'm skipping class here and there, but I'm still passing my classes. And it kind of got to the point where I just couldn't do all of that myself, right? And so I had to figure out, okay, how do I solve this problem? I have all this, brand volume that's coming in. Hey, can you do this assignment? Hey, can you fly to LA to do this thing? And it's like, oh no, it's midterms, I can't do that. Like, or oh, snap, I can't do two things at once. Like, how do I make up for that?
Right.
So I started identifying different like creatives around, created kind of an agency is what it was at the time. And then, boom, now I've created a tribe where we can all go get money together, right? Based off shared needs, goals, understanding, values, skills, right? Do that. Then go off to LA with this thing we built, Techstars. It's a cohort, right? Where you have 10 companies and entrepreneurs like working together to, et cetera, et cetera. And so I'm doing all this stuff. It's fun. It's cool. It's individually fulfilling, but you're doing it with people that you love, and that's fun too. But I think on a spiritual level, I kind of got to the point where it's like, okay, I've kind of learned, and I'm navigating all these spaces like as a Black entrepreneur, and that's great. But I just kind of felt away from like, I'm creating all these things, I'm pouring into these creators, like doing all these things, but I felt like my tank was like running dry.
Yeah.
And I
can
didn't,
imagine.
I didn't feel like, I'm like, man, like I need to be in an environment that the environment itself like is the grounding. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so it's like, and what I was doing from a tech standpoint, like it was basically remote. Like most of our investors and stuff were in LA, but we didn't need to physically be there after the program. And so, and then also the pandemic in LA got weird. If you know, you know. If you don't, it's whatever. But LA just got kind of weird in the pandemic. And so I have a friend from Atlanta, a really good friend, Natalie Sims, who just so happened to move back here during the pandemic, another artist, creative. And she was like, yo, like, you need to come out. There's this festival, Juneteenth. Her aunt is Sherry. There's this festival, Juneteenth. You need to come out. It's the Centennial. Long story short, I couldn't make it out to the Centennial, but I came out not shortly after that. And man, I'm in the hotel room. I'm like, I want to go for a run. I go for a run. I'm not thinking about moving to Tulsa at all, right? This is just all that kind of pretext to understand the position that I'm in and kind of just headspace. I go on a run and like, I feel like God just like stopped me and like slapped me in the face like 3 different times while I'm on this run. And I don't know at the time, like, oh, I'm literally running around Black Wall Street and kind of this is the area, like North Tulsa. I don't know any of
Oh,
the.
you didn't even know where you were
I
at.
knew what Black Wall Street was, but like I mean, my hotel was like, downtown, like not like north downtown, kind of south downtown on the other
Other side
side.
of the
So
bridge.
when I'm running and stuff, like I don't have context where I am. And man, I just felt this heaviness. And so I just start kind of walking, and I literally, as I'm like looking down while I'm walking, like you see these like, you know, pillars like on the ground
Yep.
that are like literally like storefronts, right, of previous businesses. And that I keep walking, and now I'm like through the OSU Tulsa area.
Yep.
And you see this like huge mural, right, of like, symbolic of the massacre. And I didn't know what any of that meant from like a what does this mean for me, or what am I taking back from it, but I just knew like this feels great. Just the You just kind of felt the spirit being alive, and like I just wanted to kind of sit in that, right? And so I literally booked maybe 4 or 5 trips coming back to Tulsa, like a couple of weeks apart, for the next like 6 months, just because I was just like, I just want a taste of that. Like it's just my body, my soul, my spirit. I don't know. It's just like walking into your grandma's house, like that's how I felt when I was in Tulsa. And so kind of on a whim, I talked to my team. I flew them out so that they can experience it. And we were like, all right, we're moving to Tulsa. And so it's funny what you said at the beginning about how kind of, we came here and what we did while, we were here, and kind of, how we were able to navigate.
Yeah.
But that's been kind of my life's journey of okay, we're in a new environment. How do we as an individual say, hey, no matter what's going on, where I am, like, what can I do today? How do I find my tribe? And how do I, reach my goals, but also serve at the same time? Like, that's how we were raised.
That's been in you since
Where
you
I'm
were
from. Yeah.
a kid.
Yeah. So being in Tulsa then, where now you have a lot of people who uh I've learned like didn't have a lot of those like types of experiences, but have the rich history, right? Of we understood what Tulsa was, we understood what Black Wall Street was, and so and then many people who are here are literally descendants of that,
Right.
right? And so they're like, we know who we are in theory, right? Like we academically understand who we are. Many people, literally from a knowledge of self standpoint, understand who they are. But here in Tulsa, everyone's trying to navigate it here actively in real time. Some of which a lot of people have never left Tulsa. Some of which are coming into Tulsa, but with expectations of what can I get from Tulsa, or how can I capitalize off of Tulsa. And so you have a lot of these dynamics, and you haven't really got that retribution yet for the community that's here. And so there's just a lot of I think it's exciting, but it's also it could be a jungle out in Tulsa, you know what I mean? And so I think what was good for me here was that I wasn't really here for all of, I think, what Tulsa is marketing itself to be now. I was here to break bread with people. I was here to kind of get restored from a standpoint of like just community, and being a Black entrepreneur and going out and getting it. Like that's a tough journey. But I think I wanted to be able to plant and kind of call home and buy property where I knew my soul and my spirit felt good. And so ultimately, that is what brought me to Tulsa.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, you you just kind of explained the entire dynamics of this city in that one message. You know, one thing that I'm amazed that you were able to do here is to find love in a strange place.
Oh my goodness. How crazy, right?
I would never have expected that. Please,
I know, me too.
give us some advice, because some of us are still looking.
It's crazy. You're not the first person to say that. When I knew I was coming to Tulsa, it's crazy. I got this like super prophetic word that came through one of my best friends. I would say my best friend, and just a very clear prophetic word about what the next season of my life was going to look like. And it's crazy how much has come true from that. But part of me coming to Tulsa was, okay, I know that this is going to be a very intentional time where I just need to put my head down and serve and like build, right? I think a lot of people, they think about, oh yeah, Greenwood was this, bustling place and all this stuff was going, but it's like at some point people had to come and it was nothing and they built.
Right.
People who weren't from here said, there was a time where Black people, right, it's Juneteenth, so 1865, right? You have the ability as a Black person to stay, maybe be a sharecropper, stay on your plantation because it's all you know. And a lot of people did, right? My family, part of my family at the time did. Still to this day, there's a town called Kingston, Georgia, around 800, 900 person population. I swear at least 200 of them are my cousins. And one of my cousins is the mayor of Kingston to this day. And it's a town that's only like 35, 40 miles north of Atlanta. So like literally 10, 15 miles north of where I grew up. Whole family still there to this day. And which is awesome. I literally grew up being able to literally like go back and like visit where our family has been for
That's wild.
like over 100 years, right? Hundreds of years. And I think there's a richness in that, especially now, cousin's the mayor. But anyway, so people have the ability to stay there. They have the ability to, and when I say the ability, everyone's circumstance is different, right? So, but generally speaking, to go north, right? Right. Let's see if white ice is colder in the north than it is in the south. And so you had that, right, where, no, there wasn't slavery, in the way that we understand it to be, and maybe you can go make a name for yourself in the north. Then you had a constituency that said, I'm going to see what's west, because I'm hearing these stories about these towns kind of popping up, right? Or and so that's what people who built Greenwood did. They came west, not knowing what is here. Taking a risk and a sacrifice of, at least when you're in the South, it's like, you know what it is. So it's like, you can just at least continue to navigate if you know what it is, or at least in the North, like this is still like America, right? Like at the time, this was literally like Indian territory. Like it just wasn't, but they chose, like you have these visionaries who are saying, and I know when I moved to Tulsa, like my whole family was like, what the hell are you doing moving to, like, what? Like, I can't even point to Oklahoma on a map. Like, why would you, like, I'm from Atlanta, I've lived in New York, I've lived in LA, like, why would you move to Tulsa? But again, it's like, in what you see as nothing, right? I see as like a canvas and a place to build, right? Especially within the history of what it is. So, you had people do that. And so, all right, I'm gonna stop. What was the original question?
Yeah, no, because you were trying to get away from.
Wait, hold on. What was the question?
I asked you, how did you find love in a strange
place? Okay. All right, now we're gonna start from there. All right, Justin, you'll okay. All right. So you had people. Okay, so then you had the people that chose to go west. Right.
Okay.
And there's this idea of this like vision that I have for my life, for my family, and whatever, and like, we can go there and build. It's crazy. I had that mindset coming here, and I was like, since I gotta do that, I'm not gonna find, and I'm naive at the time. I'm like, bro, I'm going to Oklahoma.
I'm not looking for nothing.
I'm not even, am I not looking for something? Like, you know what? This is gonna be a season where like I'm just gonna assume that wouldn't even happen here, because I'm from Atlanta, so if you know anything about Atlanta, like, and I date women, so.
Atlanta's the place to be.
It's a fine population. Yeah. It's a fine pool.
So it's a liberated Black city.
Yeah. So I didn't think, and then I'm gay also, right? So I'm like, I'm not about to find nobody in Oklahoma. Man, it's crazy. My girlfriend, now of over 3 years, came here with the same intention, on the same mindset, at the same time.
Wow.
Also from Atlanta.
What?
Also, who just so happened to also be a film major and entrepreneurship minor.
Now. I don't believe this.
Yeah. So we had the same major, minor. We both came from the same city. We were both entrepreneurs at the time, moving to Tulsa specifically for the same purpose of like building from Black Wall Street. And so it was wild. And so that just kind of happened transparently. I always say, we worked in the same like kind of co-working space, and she would be like DMing me on Slack, like asking me questions like, oh, I need a photographer for this. Like, I know you do this creative thing. Yeah. Like, can you help me out? But I didn't think anything of it. And then one of our mutual friends, we would go to different happy hours and stuff together. And then one of our mutual friends was like, you know, she likes girls, right? And I was like, oh, I think she's been hitting on me. Oh, word, word.
See, that's the struggle
Yeah.
with the gay black community.
Yeah.
Like whether it's guys or girls,
Yeah.
transgenders, sometimes you don't
Yeah.
know what to pick up on,
Yeah, that's true.
and that's the most frustrating thing.
That's fair. But
Okay.
hey, you're same thing with anything in life. Have your knowledge of self, and once I think you know who you are and you know what you want,
Mm.
I do think things get a little more clear, and what you start attracting and who sees you and what you see, I think it's a little more clear over time.
So what I want to know is, who was chasing who? Would you consider the DMs as her chasing you, or did you take action?
I don't think either one of us was like chasing. And I
Okay.
think if you, I mean, I know you know my partner, like we're very, you know, we know who we are. We're gonna do our thing, and if I just so happen to catch a whiff of something that I like, I may walk over there. You know what I mean, and start asking a little more questions. And so it was that. But I mean, I definitely consciously pursued her for sure. Like, you know, for example, like we fasted for 30 days once we got to the point in dating where we knew, okay, man, I like you. Hey, I like you too. You know, before taking that next step, but actually like kind of making our relationship official, you know, we fasted. And that was awesome. And I think for us, it was because we were on such a journey of like clarity as individuals, and, you know, hey, you know, we kind of know what we're here to do, and just moving with intentionality. And so while it was fun and it was nice and it felt good and it seemed good, I think there was also a discernment and a kind of honoring around, hey, like if this is what we think it is, like let's just go through this in a way that would maybe help validate that.
That's wild,
Um,
and just
yeah.
the wisdom in that. Like, ain't nobody gonna watch this episode now because we gotta dumb it down. Like,
Yeah.
you're being too wise right now. Like, that's incredible. Like, people don't even consider those things these days, and
Yeah.
that just adds such a spiritual component. I feel like that just adds such weight to the relationship,
Yeah.
even at that early stage.
Yeah, and it creates accountability, right? It creates like okay, this is who. I think a big reason it's like, you know, I came from dating in LA, where it's just like, I mean, you can't believe anything you hear when you talk to people in LA. But I think from a standpoint of like, okay, we can say who we are, but like let's see that and create an environment and a space where we can kind of, you know, see.
that
So yeah,
authenticity.
I would say, you know, yeah, that's something that we both wanted to do, and it was great. It was awesome, and now we're here. So.
Well, I'm so happy for you. Congratulations.
I don't know what advice I'd give to people, but, you know, focus on you, do your own thing, and if something's meant for you, then, you know, you'll find it.
So you're not saying that I have to fast in order to find
No,
love?
not at all.
Okay, 'cause
No,
that ain't
not
never
at
gonna
all.
happen.
No, no.
I'm gonna be single forever.
No,
if that's
no.
the
But you
case.
could eat.
Okay,
It's fine.
okay. At least a chicken salad. Like,
Yeah, whatever.
you know, I will say we've talked a little bit about, you know, veganism before. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I went out to eat with y'all, and I felt horrible.
People always say that. I'm like, it's.
No,
If I
Jesse,
didn't have access to the grocery store tomorrow, and we all had to figure it out, I'd be the first one out hunting
Right, but-
tomorrow. Okay, so I'm not. It's more of like in the spirit of collectivism and, you know, circle of life and
No,
all
I
things
get it.
working together. I don't feel like I want to live a life, if I can, where everything that I'm doing is sustainable, and everything that I do can feed into something else and add value to something else. And so
Well-
it's more so like I don't have to be within the supply chain of something dying in order for me to live.
Wow, I've never had to explain the supply chain of something dying. Jeez, you just talked about the Lion King circle of life in such a poetic way. I mean, I just wanted a chicken strip.
Yeah. Do you, bro?
But no, but like I bring it up because like the reason I felt bad wasn't because like I knew like y'all are used to people eating whatever
Yeah.
around y'all, but it was just like I specifically invited y'all out, and I felt like the kind of when in Rome thing, like don't have a freaking pig on the table next to people trying to eat, you know, some vegans. trying
Nah,
to eat.
man. I'm a create the life you want. Listen, we won't get into politics too deep, but politically, I believe that everyone in America should have the right to do what they want to do, to the extent that it does not interfere me doing what I want to do. So if you want to, you know what I mean, do your thing in your household,
Right.
as long as it does not prevent me from doing my thing in my household, then let's create.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you say you don't want to get too much in politics, so I won't get too much in politics.
Yeah. But
we'll
we're
leave it at
political
that.
people.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that. You know, I will say last thing on the food thing.
Yes.
I've started doing fish,
Okay.
like the pescatarian thing, and I've cheated a couple times here and there. But to be honest with you, I actually don't crave the things I used to crave anymore. Like maybe every once in a while I want to get some fast food, but like now, like I wake up and I want my yogurt, I want my cheese stick, I want my salad, and then I want my like fish and veggies or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's just like you really can train your body the way you can train your mind.
It's inputs and outputs, right? We are a operating system, right? Neurologically, physically, emotionally, spiritually, everything that we like, we're a processor, right? We put something in, our body does something comes out, right?
Oh, yeah.
If it's a conversation, right? Someone's saying something, my brain, my body is doing a process, and then something comes out, right? And so I do think that the more that you change your inputs, the more that your outputs will look different. So much so to the point where your actual operating system will evolve what it wants to be put in and what it doesn't want and what it wants to reject, right? And so, yeah, I experienced the same thing. Like, there are still things that obviously I miss, but we live every city that we're in, we're like, all right, let's go to the best vegan restaurant in the city. I'm blessed to have a partner who is just like a chef.
Oh, yeah?
She's been vegan for nearly a decade, so we get all the good vegan stuff. If you don't like vegan food, you haven't had the right chef.
All right.
That's what I'll say.
Okay. So now I need a sample. Like,
anybody who's been to our house knows what I'm talking about. All right.
What's your go-to meal?
Man. What's my go-to meal? Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. She says tofu broccoli. It's like like a stir fried type of situation.
Okay.
But I don't know. I do anything. I say food is like fuel. Like, I could eat the same thing every day. And then like, oh, if I have something that's nice, it's like, oh, that's a delicacy. You know what I mean? But like, I'm not. Yeah.
No, that's the difference because we live in a capitalistic society.
Yes.
And even more so than European, African, and other nations, the stuff shoved at our throats is the same stuff that's causing us to be in the hospital 30 years later.
1,000%.
I'll say like my mental clarity is so much better. I don't feel like lethargic as much as I used to after eating a burger or something.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy how like the things that I thought I needed, like I have to have meat 3 times a day for the right protein. You really don't.
Yeah, that's crazy. Correct.
Okay.
I have over 100 grams of protein every day. Don't eat meat.
You eat a lot of beans though, don't you?
Hey, beans, lentils, yeah, I mean tofu. I mean, there's a lot of things. Yeah.
Okay. Enough on the food. Because now I actually am
the most I've ever publicly talked about food. Thank you, Dion.
Well, you're educating people and you're inspiring people to maybe try something they wouldn't have tried.
Yeah.
And sure. I want to talk about the Oklahoma Department of Mental Health.
Okay.
So for a time, you were the communications director.
Yes, is that correct? Senior director of communications.
Talk about, first of all, I mean, in my opinion, when you got that job, I was blown away in support, because to see a Black person, period, working for the state in such a high level position, I thought that was progress. So tell me, like, what do you
mean by that?
So I definitely am not for performative optics, right? So just putting a black face in a position is not going to do it. But putting the right Black face in a position could help us get there. And you are the right type of Black person when it comes to communicating and caring, right? Caring about how our state's mental health department operates and serves people. So That's what I mean.
Yeah.
What was your experience like?
Man, well, first, I mean, I think a lot of people were like, "What?" Like, in taking that role, and a lot of people were like, "Oh my gosh, like they hired you for that?" And then other people were like, "Whoa, like you're gonna go work for the government?" And I think for me, my mission has always been I believe every human is a creator, right? That's something that I know everyone's hears me say all the time. That was kind of our mantra with Collective. And I think during my tenure of Collective, we generated, we help people, connect to millions of dollars through finding job opportunities with brands like across the world. That was awesome. I think that was definitely the start of my journey of helping people create the life they want, with the knowledge of yourself as a creator. In that, though, I realized that, like, before you can create, right? We talked about inputs and outputs in ourself as the processing center. Um, if our mind's not right, like we literally can't, like, that operating system is now like clogged, right? When we say, "Oh, I have writer's block," or "Oh, whatever," it's like I am having a hard time processing, right? And so therefore I'm having a hard time creating output ultimately. And so I think the mind is so important in relation to that. But a lot of times we're not hearing language around our mind in the context of creativity. A lot of times it's focused on your more, crisis oriented things, right?
Of
Which are
course.
super important in terms of substance, misuse or depression, suicide, things like that, right? But when you think about, every single human that does have mental health the same way we have physical health, right? Like, a physical health issue can be as simple as, "Oh, I have a headache today." You don't think about it as in, "Oh, I'm in bad health." Right. So when we talk about it, there's not that stigma of it. It's just like, "Oh man, like take an aspirin, whatever, like
Right.
maybe clean your diet up and you're straight." And so that's how, in my years of helping creators create, I've seen so much with what is it that disables people creating. We can easily look at the macro and start pointing at, oh, because, racism and, capitalism and, college is expensive, like all the things, and saying why I can't create, which are all true, right? And what can we still do today with what we do have? Well, we're not knowledgeable of what we have, respectfully. I don't think that the average person, especially Black people, are aware of what we have. As an individual, and obviously there's a Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So let's pretend that you have food, shelter, and water, right? Just to try to generalize it. Let's say we do have those needs met. We don't have the best house that we want. We don't have the best food that we want, right? But we do on a average week, right? We know where food is coming from, right? Because if that's not taken care of, like, forget what I'm about to say, and like by any means necessary, go get your food. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, 100%, I support you. Try to stay above the law the best you can. But let's pretend that we do have those things taken care of. Now we're looking at, how do I produce? How do I create value? Right? How do I maximize on what I have, etc. And I really do think that has to do with, well, do you have knowledge of who you are? Do you have knowledge of what you have? Now, having can mean, oh, I have this water bottle, I have a home, but it's like I also have access to. I'm talking about me. I have access to 200 years of family history. That's unique as a Black individual. I have access to, for me, I have a parent who, like, is in the business that I then ended up getting into from a kind of from like a kind of content standpoint. I have a mom who's a CPA. I have, at the time, and I'll get back to your question, but when I was 16, 17, I quit basketball. Long story short, I was supposed to go to Florida State, play basketball. I could have kind of went to anywhere I wanted to go. I chose to quit.
Damn.
And everyone was like, "Why would you quit? Oh my God, you're destroying the gift that God gave you." Because all that they can see is their perception of what I had.
Of who they thought you were.
Exactly. So not my knowledge of self and not my knowledge of what I have, but this projection of, so I never even had the time to even think about, well, who am I and what do I have? Because I've just always did this thing.
Mm.
I just felt the spirit to quit. And I was just like, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I know that this isn't for me. And I was forced to kind of think about, okay, but what do I have? And like, who do I understand myself to be at this moment in time? And so, again, like I said, fortunately, like I had a father who worked in news, had a mom who was a CPA. I knew I had 2 years left before I needed to figure out how to, like, where I was going to go for college. I knew that I went to a high school where I had access to pursue different leadership opportunities or go volunteer at the YMCA, things like that. So it's like, did I have, you know, a direct blueprint? Like maybe, like some would say, like, oh yeah, you know, my parents, you know, I never had to worry about where food was coming from, things like that, right? Important. But I also had a vision, I had foresight, and I understood how to leverage what was around me to get to that next stage. Okay. I don't think that, and we'll talk about Department of Mental Health. I don't think that the average Black person is able to, like, or is taught to think about, no matter what circumstance I'm in at any given time, what do I have? Who am I? And what can I do today with that? Okay. And I think our mind is the biggest culprit in what disables us from being able to do that. And the lies that we believe and looking at society tell us who we are. They'll tell me, people try to tell me who I am as a Black gay woman. You know, oh, but you're gay. Why do you eat at Chick-fil-A? Like, oh, but you're Black. Like, why do you da 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 da, right? Just all the things, right? And so I thought that working at the Department of Mental Health and taking this role was like, okay, it's my job to create the state's narrative for what mental health is, how you get access, and how you can engage, right? Everything from the 988 suicide hotline, which now, like, federally, they're starting to kind of strip away. You know, I'm like, man, if I can go in and basically be this lead propagandist around how do we need to talk about mental health in the state and how can we make sure that everyone, all 4.5 Oklahomans, have access to that. I felt like, man, like, I feel called into that space. And so that's why I took that role.
And that's why I call you a C-suite level activist.
Yeah. And I guess it's activism. I definitely see my duty and my purpose and my passion in helping us get to it. Whoever us is, you could define that however we want to define that. And it, you have to define. My girlfriend's very good at telling me, like, you have to define the it. So it's like, I want to help us get to it. Who is us? Oh, I'm gonna say in this context, it's me and my people. It's my tribe. That can mean a lot of different things. That can mean Black Americans overall. That can mean my household. That can mean my friends I went to college with. That can mean, you know, my extended family, right? And then it, for me, is whatever you define it to be for you. Right? So if that, so for you, that, like, whatever it is you're trying to get to in your life, like, you're part of my tribe in more ways than one. So it's like, my duty is to help you get to it, however you define it. So I felt like I could do that in this role and in a way that I hadn't done before, doing PR, advertising, marketing, you know, working with news reporters, crisis communications, all that stuff. I did not know, I knew that coming into the role, it was going to be super political by nature. I wanted to also step into that government role. Just so I knew I didn't want to work in government long term, but I knew that with the work that I'm doing and kind of this larger macro kind of journey I'm on in life, I knew that working within government would help me see the floor in a way that I didn't have access to see the floor outside of it.
Give you perspective.
And man, I saw the floor.
Yeah. Well, the floor, you know, the former director saw the floor as well, because they're going through this whole investigation by the state, a mismanagement of millions of dollars in funding. And that's just recently, you know, not talking about the past years of inappropriate actions by staff there. You definitely got out just in time. You were able to avoid even having to field questions from reporters on that. So I just want to give you an
By
opportunity.
reporters, he means he's one of those people that send those questions to my inbox. You're one of those also.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't dodge me, but uh, is there anything at all that you want to say about any of that?
Well, I think a lot of people probably don't have context. But long story short, the person whose job I came in to replace got convicted of embezzling hundreds of thousands of dollars uh, before I took the job. So my dad, when I told him I had this role, he was like, "All right, don't steal, and you'll be all right." And so yeah, that's kind of the world I was coming into. I definitely was the youngest person in my type of position and like leadership role over there, which was awesome. Um, naturally, only black person as well at that level, which was interesting.
So you had people twice your age,
Yeah,
white people, who were having to.
who reported to me? Yeah,
I'm sure that worked out perfectly.
yeah, it was great.
Oh,
I loved my team. My team was great. Yeah, that was actually the saddest part of me leaving was having to leave
really?
my team. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Because everything I love pouring into creators.
Mhm.
You know what I mean, and helping people understand who they are as a creative individual and bringing that to life. And so I got to do that with my team, and that was awesome. And they're all great. But yeah, long story short, there, the administration overall, they definitely experienced just a lot of battles. Everything from the consent decree lawsuit that was happening around you know the jail
mental health treatment.
competency
Yeah.
stuff, yeah.
Mhm.
And so there was that. We had to take our naloxone vending machines that we had like put out on the streets to
Yeah.
basically get people free naloxone. We had to pull that program back.
What?
Yeah, so you can still get free naloxone at okimready.org. And we have a mail-in
Gosh.
program. Also different CCBHCs like all around,
Okay.
like Family and Children Services or all those types of organizations. But yeah, so that was a really big thing that happened.
Mhm.
We had a lot of, people coming, leaving, stuff like that. And then during this past legislative session, we went into these budget issues. And so, yeah, I think, we were asking for like a $30 million appropriation. And then, that number started changing. And then, some people from the agency had to kind of get deposed
Mhm.
and talk to the house about things. And yeah, I had a great time there. I think I hit a point where less so about I think what was going on within our administration. I think more so just continuing always to be in a state of who am I,
Mhm.
what do I want to create today. I really kind of missed building things
Mhm.
transparently, and I just wanted to be able to roll up my sleeves again and like get back in the lab and like be building.
I see.
And so that's what I transitioned into. And then a couple weeks later everything blew up and our commissioner got impeached, which never happened in the history of Oklahoma state directors and commissioners. So, but I was there to serve.
Mhm.
I think we did a really good job in that. I think my team killed. They're still there. They're still killing it. And I think it's just my time to serve elsewhere. And so that's what I'm doing now. And it's awesome.
If you ever do go back into government 20, 30 years from now, I could definitely see you being a diplomat. Like if our democracy survives and we actually have like presidential elections in 20 years, like I could
Yeah.
definitely see you being a diplomat.
Yeah, my father, my father has always been, I think, a good political curious guide, and I think that he's interested in continuing to be in that space.
Mhm.
I don't know to the degree that I'll touch politics or not, but I definitely will never do things from a money standpoint that aren't aligned with where I'm trying to take things for real.
Ooh, you said it.
And so I think that's where politics gets tricky because it's essentially you're like, it's like a game around vision. You have a vision, and then now we need to bring that vision to market. So everything that I'm going to do in terms of how I make money will be I'm choosing to come behind a individual or an organization that I really believe in and I'm trying to push that thing forward, right? Whether it's a product, a person, an institution, um, whatever, a neighborhood association. Like, it's like if there's a vision that I really believe in, like I'm gonna push that thing. And so
And I'll say
yeah,
that's what I don't remember our first interactions. I just remember we kept seeing each other at the same spaces and we started linking up.
yeah,
That's really what gravitated me towards you, because like I just like authenticity. I'm a sucker for authenticity, and like the biggest thing that like turns me off is performative or
yeah,
ulterior motives. You know,
yeah,
and it's so ironic for you, someone coming from Atlanta, New York, L.A. You know, all these places where you would think that that's kind of the mindset to lead in, and you're coming to Tulsa having to deal with that mindset.
yeah, yeah. It's yeah, it's funny. I think a lot of people come to Tulsa to recreate themselves.
Hmm.
And I think a lot of people stay in Tulsa so that they don't have
Wow. Run that one back.
to. It's a place that's very unique. It's the most unique place I've been in America. And it's interesting. And yeah, that's what I'll say. And it's pure itself,
Mm.
right? But also, I mean, there's always been two tales of Tulsa. There always has been. So I think that those two tales that are, and like anyone, you have to choose how you're going to navigate something that's that dense of cultural, spiritual, economic, racial warfare
Mm. Mm-hmm.
every day.
Yeah.
That's what it is. So it's like you have to understand how to navigate warfare socially and choose also like, man, like, am I gonna be a soldier on the front line every day? Well, who are you? What do you feel in your spirit? And what keeps you up at night? Do that thing.
Mm.
So if that looks like that, then do that. If that looks like starting a business and going to get it that way, do it. Like whatever, however it is that you want to show up. But I do believe that, yeah, there is a lot of performative, it's kind of, showing up could be a personality trait in Tulsa in a way that's like, I'm the type of person that's like, the noise kills me.
Yeah. Yeah. You learn
but-
so much about people in the moments of silence,
Oh yeah,
in what they don't say,
yeah,
and how they react to
Yeah.
things.
yeah, yeah. And what happens when truth is presented?
Mm.
How do you
Yeah.
what happens? What
Yeah.
happens to you? How do you show up?
Yeah.
Do you like it? Are you uncomfortable?
What
Can
do
you
you
sit
do
in
when
it?
you're uncomfortable? Yeah. What do
Yeah.
you do when you're uncomfortable?
Yeah. And so I think that's I love that. I love uh I love moments where we get to see.
Hmm.
That's why a lot of times spectacles have to happen. Spectacles have to happen sometimes. I use a great example, a good street marketing thing. Like if you're in a neighborhood or like if you're on the block and somebody comes and steals your block spot every day, you're supposed to make cash flow here. And they come every day, every day, every day. Or maybe, they mess with you every day, every day, every day. At some point, you have to do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
Or you don't have to do something about it and let them continue to
Yep.
take your block.
Which is doing something. You're choosing
Right.
to accept the status
And
quo.
you're also probably gonna be angry and sad and how dare they did it. So are you gonna go to another block? Are you gonna go create another opportunity? Are you gonna say, hey, I don't like this thing here, so I'm gonna leave and I'm gonna go do something else? Or are you gonna stay where you are, know that this threat or this thing is trying to impede, and just like sometimes you gotta like, hey bro, get off my block.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you don't do that if you're not prepared to battle.
Right.
This is a very literal context. No violence. I'm not don't care for violence.
Metaphorical.
But yes, like you have to kind of decide, do I really want to face this thing and fight it and win and stay?
Mm-hmm.
Or do I want to, go find something somewhere else? And so I think that like for me, as someone who is a creator and who lives a life to help people create every day, it's hard for me to stay in an environment where not only like I can't create, but if you're watching creators be poured into, and it's like, dang, everyone's operating system is so messed up that nobody's really creating output, and not creating output, but like bearing economic fruit from the output.
Mm.
It's like,
Stagnation.
is it the people or is it the operating system? I think Tulsa is an operating system, and there's a couple different layers of the operating system, but ultimately it's an operating system that's operating with or without you.
Mm.
And so I think the way in which you choose to participate and engage in the operating system to produce a certain level of output, yeah, it can get interesting in a place where the history of what was Tulsa is. And so with all that, I'm focused on building where we are with us
I see.
so that we can go get it.
And we is your tribe wherever your tribe is.
We is your tribe wherever your tribe is. And so it's like we still have our house on Greenwood. We live in Tulsa, or like we have our home in Tulsa. We will have that for the foreseeable future, decades. And like we are diasporic citizens, right? That feel called to
I love that.
be where we need to be to do what we need to do. And so I think, at one point that was me physically living in Tulsa. I'm still in Tulsa all the time. But, I think that Tulsa still has healing to do in order for creators to be successful here
Absolutely.
now.
Absolutely. You talk about the operating system. I'm thinking of ChatGPT, and it's like, depending on the prompt you put in,
Yeah.
is what you're going to get out of it. And, the past 4 years of my life has been exactly the last 5 minutes of what you just explained, navigating that. There was a time where I took a break from the Black Wall Street Times, from journalism period, took a break from Tulsa. And I am actively in that phase of, who am I? What do I have? And where do I want to go? And I'm just now really through this podcast realizing who I am, what I have, and where I want to go.
Yeah. I mean, I've talked to you about that for years now. I've always seen, I feel like I've always seen you. And who you are as a creator. I think that you just need the space and time to be you where you are, and to let it speak and let it rip. And I think that, to the point of operating systems, like I'm very much so interested in what does it look like for us to build our own operating system, in a very literal way, economically, socially, politically, so that we're not having to put these inputs into somebody else's operating system with the expectation that we're going to get the output of what it is that we're looking for when someone else is processing it.
Wow. Yeah.
Right. So I do think that a big part of what you are starting to do is develop your own operating system. And I think that this platform is that of a sorts, right? Where you're able to say, okay, you know what your vision is for yourself, for your tribe, right? Whatever that tribe looks like. And I think that, with the guests that you bring on and the things that you're talking about, like you're creating narratives, you're creating stories, right? That's who you are. You're a storyteller. And so this is a model for how do we get people to see what you see and the things that you say on a daily basis. It's like, well, you got to create it and put it out for them and let people taste it and hear it and sniff it. For real. That's why I think people need to create, like, cause as a founder, I spent so much time pitching and selling people all day and talking about the thing. It's like, man, just create it and give it to somebody. Let them play with it. Let them feel it. Let them experience it and give them something that they can mobilize and they can take with them. Right.
I spent months making outlines for how I want the segments to go and who I want to have. And then when I just started saying, forget it, let's just start bringing people on, it just started flowing.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate that. I mean, that means a lot to me, especially coming from you, someone who knows how to create operating systems. And, that's my ultimate goal. And so people like you are the kind of people I'm trying to amplify, because y'all have gems that people need to take in so that we can all get to where we're trying to go.
No, I feel that. I was raised right. That's what I'll say. I had parents that were able to give me knowledge that has helped me navigate. So, yeah.
Well, I appreciate you. I got one last question. What gives you hope for the future?
Our ability to create today.
Mm.
Um, as long as there is still air in our lungs, we can define your we, define the output of what can is, but we have the ability to get to it. Define your it, define, your we. And then I would also say focus on your we, serve your we. Like, I don't know why I just feel the need to say that. Like, whoever you're doing this with or for, serve them. So many people say all the time, oh, I'm trying to do this for Black people. You don't serve Black people. You're trying to do this for gay people. You don't serve gay people. You can talk about us in a positive way. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can, but like, what do you understand the pain points? Do you understand the goals, the needs of that constituency? Have they told you that? And you're still saying, oh yeah, but like, what if we do this? It's like, no, please go away. Because like, you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, serve, just serve. Like, whoever it is that, or whatever it is that you're trying to do, if you're like, oh, I want to start a business, da 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 da, it's like, it should stem from solving a problem. It shouldn't just stem from this egotistical idea of like, I'm trying to get put on. It's like, that's not authentic. It's not going to actually serve the tribe. The consumers aren't going to buy it, right? Like, it may spin up in a cool little spectacle real quick, but it's not going to be sustainable. And you're always going to have to like be fed from the nipple of whatever operating system you're actually trying to get out of. So many people are saying like, oh, I fight the system. It's like, abolition is not just F the system.
It's dismantle it.
Yes, but it's step into the newly created system. That's what it's not just anarchy and burn it all down without direction of where we're going. Harriet Tubman was not focused on burning down plantations.
That's a good point.
She did not. I don't care if you're coming or not. We're riding at dawn. And if you're there at dawn 01, we are out. Why? Because my tribe is going to get got if you as an individual are doing your own thing. And what's also not going to happen is if I come up to you and say, because you've been saying this whole time, you want to get off the plantation. You want to get off plantation. You want to get off plantation. And now there's a moment in time where the train's coming and we're saying, hey, yo, the train's here right now. And you're like, but like tomorrow I can maybe get a promotion, or like, what if like, oh, they're not that bad, are they? It's like, whatever. Are you ready right now or not? If you're not, that's fine. But like the train, we gotta continue, right? And hopefully like you're ready when the train comes around again, or start your own revolution and like get up and go, right? But I'll say that be at any point in time, you got to be ready to move when the spirit says move. That's what I'll say.
I hear you.
Yeah.
And I feel like one of the problems we have today is we have too many people who are willing to sell us out so that they can maintain their role on the plantation. And I'll just leave it with this: no violence. But I understand why Harriet Tubman had to do what she had to do to some people.
I mean, it's a matter of, and I think that I'm very like, oh, let's all create and da-da-da. But people that have created with me know that I'm like a mama bear. Like, right? So like, I'm very much so freedom for everyone. Like, let's get these folks off the plantation. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm into all of that. But I'm also like, if you want to sit up here and argue while like we are about like, oh, if we're doing something in the right way or da-da-da-da, and it's like, you're not on the boat and our boat's moving. It's like, I'm all about like feedback and like all that stuff. And at the same time, it's like, yo, we gotta go.
Yeah. Like,
we gotta go now. And the thing with tech that's taught me, like, you deploy something when it's like 90% done, 85% complete, right? Because you have the ability the goal should be getting feedback, letting people understand. Because when you build the thing and do the thing, you don't even know if it's going to be perfect or not. So you're spending all this extra time trying to make it so perfect, and you haven't even put it in front of the customer. we're not going to get it 100% right. Right. So it's like we have to be able to build, deploy, get feedback, learn, build, deploy, get feedback, learn. Like, and we have to build that and continue to do that and get that momentum and get more people, just so that you can get the muscles like of creating and of doing and and as you know, get past that exponential learning curve, like your shots start hitting, you know, and now you have a culture. Our tribe has created a culture of creating and doing and going from idea to launch as people with the things that are in our spirit to do. So it's like we do that. Yeah, there are going to be times where it's like, hey, someone's kind of encroaching on our ability to create. We have to kill that thing. Like, if something is disabling my ability or my household's ability to get to it, it goes back to my one political thing I'll give you that I believe, which is like, people should be able to do what they want to the extent that it disables mine, right? In a sense of like, literally like, yo, bro, get off my lawn. That's my lawn. Like, you got your lawn over there? Like, you know, like at the point in which like I feel my kids are threatened, like, and you're on my lawn, it's like,
It's fair game.
I'm sorry, bro. Like, we understand the rules. I don't think that we protect our creativity and our mind and our people with that level of resolve. So that's what I'll say. It's you know, freedom isn't free. Freedom requires work. Freedom requires revolution. Sometimes freedom requires retribution. And yeah.
Freedom always requires restitution. And so we need to make a song because I want all of it. I want all of it.
That's
that
fair.
We're owed.
That's fair.
Kelsey Davis,
Dion Osborne,
C-suite of activists, and many more things. Thank you so much for joining In Depth with Dion.
Thank you for having me.
Wow.